So I go in and take the piece and I set it up, I test it, it's working fine. And then so I can sort of stand aside and wait for the adoring crowds, to come and check it out and acknowledge my genius. And people walked in and it wouldn't make any sound. Or it would just make these random sounds. And so I go and check. Everything stopped. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Until I saw a videotape of myself moving. And when I was in the space, I started to move like this. And I had no idea that I was doing this sort of movement. It had happened that over the course of 2 months working with a computer, we had agreed that I would move that way. So I would change the algorithm a bit, and then I would test the algorithm, and I'd learn that the algorithm worked really well if I moved in a certain way. And then I'd tune the algorithm to work with that way I was moving. And then that would make me move even more in that way. And then I tuned the algorithm. Over 2 months, I completely changed the way I moved. So the next piece I did, I thought, this is bad. I've got to turn it upside down. So I made it so that it would only respond sort of in the sort of smooth 6, smooth 5 zone. So you had to make these movements like this to get any sound out of it.
But you discovered it's standards. It's the default set. Just make it.
Yeah. You want to move your movie into a brief sequence. There would be a way to get around this issue, but it's very easy to do it with because you can just import movie.
Yeah.
And then just replace your view movie with the view sequence, and that you'll just get rid of that. So what's happening right now is the triggering one is the movie.
Yeah.
And in fact, you actually probably want the thing that's frame rate is more guaranteed, which is the digitizer to actually be clocking it through, or you don't want to at least fall behind to that. If this is a V sequence, it will go really constant.
They're maybe behind because there's a few of these big ones.
Which is to see that.
The idea is that people are farther away from the camera.
En dat ik een nieuwe voorraad staat, toch?
Yeah, but maybe we had the order wrong. So this should show to the last one then.
Oh, well, but are they sorted? No, not by size. So there's no reason why the ones in the back might not be bigger than the ones. There's also something else you can use here, which is, see, these are all still, right?
So it turns out that any gesture, let's say I make a gesture like this. If it's reasonably smooth, it's going to have a curve like that. A more smooth version actually has a sort of a slight delay, fades out a little slower and goes like that. So they start from 0. There are 2 really key moments in the difference between these. One is here and one is here. They're called the 0 crossings. If you subtract one from the other, you get 0 crossings. That's what you're doing there. That's what I'm doing there, yeah. So when the less smooth value jumps above the more smooth value, that's almost always the beginning of at least some kind of gesture. And when the less smooth value falls below the more smooth value, that's almost always the end of some kind of gesture. Now, what kind of gesture that is depends on what the smooth levels are, how much filtering. If this is smooth 2 and this is smooth 3, then it's probably, you'd probably get, I'll announce what I think will be the positive crossings. You get positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. So that gesture gets divided into a trigger, a trigger, a trigger, a trigger, a trigger. Trigger, 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 trigger. Right? And smooth. Okay, now I'll start to move. So I get one trigger. And I should probably not get another trigger. I'll stop moving my finger. And now I get another trigger eventually. But it's really looking over a much longer term. It's not going to see those little movements at all. I'm going to have to draw this, I think, on the screen. Let's see.
Te leggen met even lijntje op.
You can do it by slowly increasing from if you do a logarithmic increase from 0
But then it should also
to 1, going
see it's like if you.
what I do usually is I would take a line of max and I turn it into a floating point number from 0 to 1. So I create a line from 0 to 1. And then I run it through 5 square
Dat
roots.
tekending van die.
And that creates something that goes very quickly to almost 9. And then fairly quickly to 9.5. And then very quickly to the last distance from these 5 times.
No, only when you grab and you.
Oh,
That's green. Actually, get it up at the top. There's still something automatic in the camera that's messing us up a bit. It's sort of working, but it's not working as well as it should. I think this works.
Voor die present?
Bypass.
Doesn't need software NS, it just needs a camera. So if that's something that you wanted to take away without even thinking about having to have an X and software NS too, you're doing right.
But we have to put some implementation like the VD has to be inside it and
That's easy.
you do?
I'll do it. Thank you.